We have now applied these grass fibers with our NOCH Grass Master. That's really a rocket. It's really big fun to apply these grass fibers, and they stand up. It's cool to see this effect and how it brings more life to our diorama. I also like these small bushes, grass tufts and flocage and stuff like this. When they come into the game, that really changes the whole face of this landscape, and it really makes it more realistic. It brings, it brings really a face into this landscape, and that makes it really cool to work with these materials. So I hope you enjoyed the last chapter and learned a lot. So the next step will be that we will decorate our small diorama with some accessory. So we will start with this mountain hat here. This mountain hat is a model from our NOCH standard range. It is a laser cut kit. These laser cut kits have a big advantage compared to the plastic models. They are made from cardboard, so they have a matte finish that is just included without any extra work. We will here now use our NOCH Patina pens that will help us even to improve this look a little further. And we will weather this hat. We will make it to a very special individual hat for you. So I will show you how to assemble this laser cut kit and how to weather everything. Afterwards, we will then take some figures out of the big NOCH figure range, like these cows we have here, like these hikers, and all the other. Here are some climbers over there, maybe. And then you can see how to glue them into our landscape and how to decorate this landscape and how to make it to a really, really cool, complete mountainscape diorama. So we are almost through, and here is the biggest fun part, the decoration. Just enjoy.
In the next step, we would like to make the building to place on the footprint. We have the NOCH Laser Cut Kit Großer Mythen in mind for this purpose. Suitable glue is provided in the model kit. The kit includes all the parts you'll need: a sticker sheet with flags, window shutters and signs, as well as detailed instructions. NOCH Laser-Cut Adhesive, which is available separately, also offers the advantage of a particularly fine dosing tip. I will therefore use this for assembly. Only cut the parts you need in the next step out of the carrier frame. This saves room on the work surface and creates order. According to the instructions, we now build the first gable wall. All the parts are thus separated from the carriers. Glue is applied around the recess for the door. The door is then glued to fit precisely behind the recess. We also apply laser cut adhesive around the windows and stick on window panes from behind. Take care not to use too much glue, otherwise it will bulge out of the window when the window pane is pressed on. We cut the curtains out of the sticker sheet with a pair of scissors and stick them behind the window panes in the same way. I have also assembled the two side walls and the second gable wall in this way, as per the instructions. Now stick one side to a gable on the base plate, forming a right angle. In the next step, the upper floor is installed carefully and precisely. The prepared second gable wall is now put in. The carcass is now rounded off and closed by a second sidewall. The base of our mountain restaurant is now ready in front of us. Before the roof truss is installed, the beams should be colored to match. Laser cardboard is the ideal base for using NOCH patina markers. With the patina markers, a standard laser cut model can be transformed into a super realistic, unique specimen in the blink of an eye. Try out the different colors, either on a spot on the component that's not visible, or on a leftover bit of carrier frame, in order to get a feel for the color effect. As soon as you're sure which color you'd like to use for the beams on the visible part of the roof truss, color them with the patina markers. These work like a normal pen. Incidentally, I opted for dark brown at this point. The remaining components, beams, rafters and gable cladding also receive follow-up treatment with the patina markers directly in the carrier frame. Remember to color the front and back of the beams accordingly. We then glue the roof truss onto the carcass. The doubling on the side walls should also be given subsequent treatment. The engraved laser cardboard looks very realistic here. However, this way you can achieve quite a personalized touch. At this point, in addition to the patina markers for models, I also fell back on the range of patina markers for landscapes and used the color latte for the initial extensive application. I then shaded some of the wooden battens with a light gray. In combination with the latte, it turns into a slightly darker brown shade after drying. The door and window ledges are treated with dark gray in order to bring out further contrast against the walls. Once the parts have been cut from the component frame, you can already see that the coloring gives the appearance a lot more life and makes the work worth it. Finally, light gray and dark brown are used to age it again, partially from the top to bottom. The walls are now glued onto the carcass all around as per the instructions. The little mountain restaurant is slowly starting to take shape. To give the model even more three-dimensionality, I would like to dry paint the edges of the wooden ledges with a mixture of white and ivory. In order to achieve a beautifully subtle brushing effect, it is important to use a stiff, dry bristle brush. Only a small amount of paint is gathered on it and then almost completely wiped off on a cloth. With a dry brush, which has virtually no paint on it, brush over the wooden walls several times and thus brighten up the edges. This creates so-called highlights, and the model looks even more high-grade and beautiful. You also brush the loose wooden facade parts and window ledges in the same way. Follow the building instructions and attach window ledges, doors and other details to the outer walls. Another simple change compared to the standard model is the homemade window shutters. The enclosed red and white striped shutters don't fit with my mountains in the Allgäu and Bavaria. I would rather work here with muted dark forest green striped shutters. Corresponding graphics and images can be found on the internet. Compiled or designed yourself and printed out on thick paper. We have put a small selection of green and white and blue and white striped shutters on our website as a PDF to download and print out yourself from noch.com. The window shutters are neatly cut from the sheet at a right angle using a craft knife or cutter and a set square projector. Then you glue the window shutters onto the windows and doors. Make sure the strips are the correct size and aligned. follow the instructions and stick more beams, rafters and details onto the building. Some tricks are very helpful when gluing the roof onto the stop structure. First, bend the roof in the middle at the ridge so that it can more easily adopt the shape of the substructure. Then apply glue on the roof truss and spread it extensively on the area with a small piece of leftover cardboard. Then place the part with the roof structure, starting from the ridge, onto the supporting construction coated with glue and turn the building upside down. Now carefully press the building with the roof onto your base. This way of working ensures extensive adhesion, especially on the edges of the roof, and ensures there are no dog ears. Now cut the ridge out of the carrier, bend it carefully and glue it to the roof. The roof is also dry brushed with a bristle brush and acrylic paint in white and ivory. This materially shows off the roof structure to its advantage. Try not to color too evenly. Since roofs are exposed to the weather, a roof surface that is too uniform does not look authentic. Irregularities, however, are much more realistic. The finished building is something to be admired. In comparison to the standard model, it looks a little smarter and most of all customized. For testing purposes, the building is now put in its place in the landscape. And of course, this little detail should not be missing. A handmade flagpole with the Bavarian flag is also held in a pre-drilled hole as a trial. Before the next step, I take the building and flaghole out of the diorama again. The mountain restaurant should be fenced in to offer protection from the cows, which in reality would otherwise wander into the beer garden rather quickly. For this reason, we make small fence posts out of wooden toothpicks. We can quickly trim the toothpicks to the desired length with diagonal pliers. We then sand the posts smooth with a piece of sandpaper. The individual posts are colored brown with the help of the patina markers. You can use the color walnut here, for example. Holes for the fence posts are now drilled in the ground with a small 2 mm drill bit, and the shavings then carefully removed with a hoover. The prepared fence posts are stuck in the holes with glue. Incidentally, the laser-cut adhesive is also very suitable for this. The wire for the fence is to be formed of dark gray yarn. To secure it, we apply a small drop of superglue to each fence post. Now wrap the yarn once around each fence post at the height of the superglue and work your way along post by post until the entire fence is wired. As a special detail, we put a small ivory colored dot on each fence post with a fine brush to make the cutting edge of the wooden post lighter like in the real thing. It is precisely such details that will later make up the appearance of a perfect model landscape. Excess yarn is trimmed carefully with a pair of scissors. Now the landscape is lovingly designed with various figures and decorative accessories. The large NOCH range has something to offer for everyone. NOCH temporary glue has the major advantage that it only affixes accessories. You therefore have the flexibility to redecorate figures later and install them elsewhere. Also try to invent little scenes and place figures in relation to each other. In my case, for example, the calves are very close to the mother cows, looking after them. A hiker observes a cow from a safe distance from behind the fence. The climber and belayer are positioned to face towards each other, and so on. Come up with little stories and try to tell them through your figures. Two swans will comprise a special little feature on the lake. These can be fixed on directly with NOCH water effects. Small waves should be created behind the swans. To do this, we apply water effects straight from the bottle in a triangular shape behind the two swans and model carefully with a paintbrush. NOCH Foam Spume is a material specially developed for application with a brush. Basically, it is white-colored modeling water. The material is thus superior to a normal white paint in terms of color brilliance and gloss. Foam and spume is carefully applied to the bottom of the lake surface around the waterfall. You can use it to emphasize and highlight waves and spume. The swimming tracks of the two swans are also very carefully emphasized with a bit of foam and spume. We also apply some foam and spume up on the cliff edge, from which the waterfall arises. In the waterfall itself, we also emphasize some areas with the material, since foam is created where the water falls. Less is more also applies here. We would like to install some subtle highlights, especially around the edges of the waterfall. Finally, the two summit crosses also find their position on the summits. We now pick up the brush one last time. Once the crafting table has been covered with crepe paper in advance, and the diorama has been placed a little higher on a wooden ledge, we carefully paint the edges of the diorama's outer panels with dark grey acrylic paint. I have mixed this from the shades of grey and black, but you can also use another shade, for example light grey. All side panels are then carefully and extensively painted in dark grey. Our diorama is now completely done, and you can find a space for it as a pretty decorative object in your hobby room or even in the living room.